Hi, I'm Barb and this is The Font. I have finished covering the Bookers 2020 and now I am going just a little bit commando. See, when I cover the Bookers, I knew that there would be a select number of enthusiasts who would click and find me. So I got some lovely subscribers and some reliable clicks. But now I'm going to start reviewing more general topics. And well, I could well be talking to myself right now. So a woohoo to you if for some magical reason you find this YouTube. I am an Australian book reviewer, a massive enthusiast of literary fiction, and just a massive smartass altogether. I advocate reading fewer but better titles, and I like to celebrate awesomeness in writing. Having said that, I can spot bad writing like a predator eyes off a lame impala. You do not get to wee on my leg and tell me it's raining. No. Righto, Barb, enough babbling. Get on with it. Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier sat on my TBR for a long time. Actually, it sat on my recommended reads. I didn't want to read it because it looked like a romance. It's got a rhododendron on the cover, and I honestly thought it would be just the biggest bucket of vomit. But I read it, and I thought it was good. Solid, not shit. It has really one of the best openings of any book I know. It begins, "Last night I dreamt I went to Manderley again." It's wonderful dream sequence full of mystery and memory, and you can really imagine what she's writing about. It is set in the 1930s, and it's a gothic mystery about an unnamed narrator who marries the wealthy Maxime de Winter. And you have to say it like this, you have to say, Maxime de Winter. You make him sound amazing. She finds herself living in the shadow of Rebecca, Maxime's deceased wife. The new Mrs. de Winter is timid, she's unsure of herself, she's plain and unassuming. Rebecca is larger than life, beautiful, accomplished and charismatic. So it's actually a very relatable story, and I think most of us have at one time or another compared ourselves to someone and felt that horrible feeling of falling short. Well, the new Mrs. de Winter feels small and jealous and feels that she won't ever be able to measure up to the myth of Rebecca. The characters are so cool. We have Maxime de Winter. He's aristocratic, he's ill-tempered, overbearing, and in many ways unpleasant, but he mesmerizes the young narrator. And then there's Danvers. She is the chief servant of Manderley, which is the estate in which the book is set. She is devoted to Rebecca. She has a creepy lover's devotion to her. The action has lots of suspense as the narrative pieces together the real Rebecca behind the myth. I do actually have a sneaky reason for talking about Rebecca, and that is to do with the fact that there are a lot of people reading a lot of non-literary fiction. I'm talking about actual romance books and YA fantasy romance. You have no idea, oh my god, they have legions of fans reading stacks of books. Now, but I am not judging, because anybody can read anything they want, seriously. But my problem with these kinds of books is that they are limited in what they offer. See, in life we're going to experience despair, death, failure, alienation, all of those things. Hopefully we're going to ask some big questions about life and meaning. When we read quality literature, we typically experience authors that talk about the human condition in a meaningful way. It's not always a comfortable or easy ride, but I think it's worth it so that we become bigger than we were when we started reading the book. And at the very least, we don't feel so alone when we experience injustice or inner turmoil. There are 11 million things that we will experience in life that do not have happy or satisfying endings. And good literature helps us to come to terms with that. But Barb, I hear you say, can I at least watch the Netflix movie? Well, of course you can watch the movie, but just know that Hollywood's raison d'etre is to make money, and that usually involves making characters that are more appealing than they actually are, or the plot more appealing than it actually is. But there are some exceptions, like Apocalypse Now is, I think, a brilliant version of Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness. But it's unicorn rare. Because I genuinely care for you all, I watched the Lily James Armie Hammer Rebecca movie. It is just a little bit special, ain't it? You know what, I just didn't really admire it. I found that the characters were not edgy enough, particularly Maxine de Winter, and they tampered with the ending. Again, the ending just was not edgy enough. So that's on them for sure. But to be fair, it is very hard to capture what is going on in the new Mrs. de Winter's head. She's got a really rich internal world that she's always filling in the gaps of understanding with her imagination. Whole scenes of what she thinks others are thinking about her and how she might act differently. These are what make the narrative unique and complex. She says, "We all have our particular devil who rides and torments us, and we must give battle in the end." Powerfully said, Mrs. de Winter. Powerfully said. In contrast, here is the film doing internal dialogue.
You were tossing and turning all night. Rebecca. Bad dream?
She was the love of his life.
Cheese and crackers! It is not good. It did not feel subtle to me. You should trust me and read the book. Look, if you haven't read a classic before, maybe you want to dip your toe in. Maybe you feel like you're outgrowing YA fiction. Maybe so many things. Rebecca is a great place to start. It's pacey, it's suspenseful, it's got a really interesting and complex narrator. Plus, a special bonus from the font. If you can step outside your comfort zone and complete reading this classic novel, you will receive a Ralph Macchio badge of encouragement! Yay! Alrighty folks, I upload every Wednesday. Next time I am exploring gonzo journalism. Why? Because of this guy is why. See you, thank you, and go get a badge. Yay!